Have you ever been blindsided by a guy who seemed perfect at the very beginning and the only moment you realized he wasn't was after you slept with him? If you want to avoid being in that situation, what if I told you that it's possible with just a simple strategy? Well, if you want to learn that strategy, join me on today's show where we'll be discussing 5 important questions to ask men before you sleep with them. That way, you never have to make the mistake again of sleeping with the wrong guy and realizing that after the fact. All right, so let's start off with number 1, which is peak point. But I'm drawing a little bit of a mountain here. First question that you're gonna be asking men is gonna consist of, what is your peak point? Meaning, in your perfect relationship, when you are with your person, when you have what you need in a relationship, what does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you, right? To be truly happy in your dynamic, in your interaction, in your day-to-day. Now, the reason that you want to have that answer before you ever sleep with that man is because of this very specific reason. So we're going to put the man here and we're going to put you over here. You guys are both on opposite sides of this mountain, and you guys are both going to be making your way up this mountain throughout your relationship, right? Both of you are going to be working on yourselves as individuals, and in this relationship, eventually working together to build yourselves up until this peak point, right? This is your goal. And the thing that's very important about this question is you want to get a very clear understanding when you start dating a guy. Are we working towards the same goal here? Because if we're not working towards the same goal here, then we're kind of wasting our time. We're wasting our time with each other, and we're wasting our time pretending as if this is going anywhere. Because what's gonna happen to you, if you're not sure that both of you are on the same page as it relates to what this peak point is that eventually, after he gets what he wants and what he came here for, and you sleep with him finally, that's when you're gonna realize that, oh my gosh, me and you are not headed in the same page. And magically, trust me, it's like magic. All of a sudden, he's going to have all of these issues and all of these different things that are bothering him and not working for him. And he's going to bring all of these things up that weren't brought up at the beginning strategically. Because if he were to bring those things up, or if you guys were to discuss those things, it would be very clear to you that this is not going to be your lifelong partner. But the guys, they don't want you to realize that too early on, because that's going to kill their chances of being able to sleep with you. But you want to provide yourself with clarity, okay? So you're going to be asking this guy, essentially, what is your idea of a perfect relationship? Like, take me through your day-to-day. How do you guys react and approach each other? What do you do? Does your wife work? Does she not work? Does she go to school? Are you rich? Where do you want to live? Right? All of these type of things, right? I want you to describe to me in detail what your perfect relationship looks like. If this man answers to you, oh, so let me explain to you my perfect relationship. I'm someone that I really believe in 50-50. And I think that, in my perfect relationship, me and my wife are sitting at the table, looking at our bank accounts and looking at our bill statements and splitting perfectly in half to the cent what our bills are going to be. She's going to take care of half of the heating bill, and she's going to take care of half of the electricity bill, and I'm going to take care of exactly half. And the two of us are sitting there going through our bills, making sure that it's split perfectly in the middle. And also, as it relates to our kids, we're going to split all of those bills perfectly in the middle, okay? That's my ideal perfect relationship. We split everything down the middle. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, he wants to split all of the bills 50-50. I wanted to be a housewife. I wanted to be inside taking care of the children, nurturing the children, and growing my family. Not working like a maniac, splitting bills 50-50 down to the last possible cent. The reason I say that, though, is because this will bring you clarity as to whether you're even moving in the right direction here, or this is someone that is totally misaligned with you, okay? This is not a time when you ask this question, and this is where I have to be very specific because it's very important that you understand what you're doing here. You're not asking this question to try to correct him or see it your way, okay? Please, let's be very clear. You're not asking this as if there's a right or wrong answer. And I want you to encourage him to be as honest as he possibly can be. The reason for that is the more honest he can be with you, the more obvious it will be to you if this guy is aligned with you and you guys are moving towards the same peak point, or if he's going somewhere all the way over here while you're moving up over here to this peak point, right? And the more obvious that can be to you, the better, okay? Because we don't want you gaslighting yourself or living in la la land, only convinced that, oh, because I like him and because he's hot and because I like this vibe that we're having, sure, we could be partners. That doesn't necessarily work like that. And we don't want you to have to sleep with him first to realize that you guys aren't moving in the same direction. So very important. Ask that man, what is his peak point? Let's go on to point number 2, all right? We're obviously going to be discussing negative traits. So we have the good version of him here, and we have the bad version of him here. And just like with any other human being, you're going to have certain things that he does really well that you really enjoy, okay? Maybe he's really funny, maybe he's really outgoing. And these are some of his good qualities that he possesses that you've gotten to know so far, especially on the first couple of dates when he was really trying to show you all the amazing parts of his personality. But what you're probably not going to be putting a lot of effort into, but you must be if you want to make sure you're doing this the right way, is the negative traits. Meaning, someone that might be funny, outgoing, and charming might also be vengeful. Meaning, they just like to take revenge on people that do them wrong. Or if they feel slighted, they like to make sure they get their lick back, all right? That can be very toxic, right? We could also say vengeful / we could say petty, right? We could also say that someone like this who's really outgoing is a flirt. The question that you're going to ask him is, okay, tell me about your other relationships, and if you had to guess, what would they say are the reason that the relationship ended from the standpoint of your ex? If I was here sitting down with your ex and I asked her why the relationship ended from her own perspective as it relates to you, what would she say you did wrong? What would she say you weren't good at? What would she say she disliked about your relationship? And this might sound like, Tomisin, that's a really deep question. Can a lot of guys answer that? He should be able to answer that if he has any level of self-awareness. And this is not something where you have to make it seem like, oh, by the way, I'm writing all of this down so that because I know all these negative traits I'm going to be bookmarking and putting in my notes, right? You can make it a playful thing, right? Oh, I just want to get to know better. I mean, obviously it ended, but what do you think she would say? Because obviously, you know, there's two sides to every story, and you can really feed it like, I want to understand you, but I also want to see if I can understand the full aspect of your relationship. The best way to frame all of these questions, especially when you're asking anything to tell him something negative about himself, always frame it as, I want to better understand. I'm not attacking you. I don't even think you're a bad person, and I don't even really probably believe what she would have to say. But I just like to understand better. And I always am able to grow in my understanding with more information or more details. What do you think if you were to say what your ex did, because you spent a lot of time with her, what were like the biggest issues for her, right? That's another way to frame it if you don't want to make it too negative, right? What were her biggest issues in the relationship? And a self-aware guy, a mature guy, an emotionally mature guy who's able to have empathy and understand where other people are coming from should be able to tell you what the person who was closest to them in life had problems with as it relates to them. Are you following me? Someone who is either a narcissist or trying to hide things from you will try to skate around this topic, or they'll just say, I don't know, I'm not sure. You should be self-aware enough as a human being to spend time with someone romantically. And after the relationship, you should be able to put yourself in their shoes and at the very least, repeat back what you think they would have had problems with. Let's hop into number 3. If you guys don't know what country this is, then my drawing skills are way off. Do you guys know what country this is? The US of A. And let's imagine you're taking a road trip here all the way from New York, okay? And we're taking this road trip all the way to LA. and you want to go to this really nice restaurant that's only in LA. Let's say you guys want to go to In-N-Out and you want to make it a cross-country road trip to go to In-N-Out because there's no In-N-Out in New York. I believe there's no In-N-Out in New York. It's only on the West Coast. So in order to get there, you're going to have to take a very specific route in order to get there. So what are you going to do? You're going to type in your destination for In-N-Out, in Los Angeles that you're going to go to all the way from New York, and Google Maps is going to populate you the route that you're going to take. Now, along the way, you're going to stop at different places. You're going to stop at gas stations to fill up on gas. You're going to stop at maybe restaurants to grab something to eat and all of that good stuff, and take bathroom breaks and all that good stuff. My point being is there's going to be a route towards your destination. You're not just going to waffle along, right? Scramble along and just hope eventually one day you'll get to your destination, right? Because if this guy said, oh, yeah, by the way, let's go to In-N-Out. Okay, yeah, how are we gonna get there? I don't know. We'll just hop in some car somewhere and we'll just kind of like drive on the interstate casually until, one day we see an In-N-Out. And all of a sudden you're in Miami now by casually driving randomly to a random spot until you see an In-N-Out, right? That would be absolutely ridiculous. So the reason I say that is because you need to understand, for the guys that you're dating, you need to understand what is your goal. You're not your goal in terms of this relationship. What is your goal in life, right? What is your goal in your career? Where do you want to be? And what is your plan to get there? You don't have to be a millionaire yet. You don't have to be a CEO yet. You don't have to own a business yet. But tell me, what is the goal? And how are you working to get there? Okay? The reason I tell you this, and this should be a very clear answer, because if he doesn't have a destination, and then on top of that, he doesn't have a route on how he's going to get to that destination, let me tell you exactly what's going to happen the moment after you sleep with him. After you sleep with him, what's going to happen is he's going to tell you, you know what, he's going to be pulling up his pants, right? I need to tell you something. I don't think I'm there mentally to be able to date right now. And I've got so much going on. I've got school. I've got this job that I'm not really sure about, and I might lose my job. I've got this going on. My finances aren't where they need to be. Everything's just not where it needs to be. And, it's just crazy because I only started thinking about how everything is not where it needs to be after I busted a nut. And, when I busted that nut on your backside, I became so clear on what I need to be doing. And I realized that I'm not at all where I should be in life. And I have so much to figure out that I just can't do a relationship right now. And you're gonna be like, buddy, you didn't think that you could have said any of that to me before we slept together? No, I wasn't sure. Guys know that they're not where they wanna be. They know that they're kind of scrambling and waffling along in life. They know, right? The video game players, they know. The soy boys, they know. But they don't want to tell you that because they don't want you to be aware of the fact they have no direction. Because they know if they start to tell you all the ways they have no direction, you're less likely to be inclined to even want to sleep with them in the first place. I always tell you guys, the person with the most information wins. This is like a war. He's trying to withhold the information that I have so much to do in life and I'm not where I want to be, because he knows if he gives out that information freely, you're less likely to actually make the decision to sleep with him, right? And if he waits until after you sleep with him, then when he reveals that, it's like a perfect out for him. So in order for you to counteract that, you need to know what the route is and you need to know what the destination is. And then you also want to do an extra bit on top of that after you ask the question and try and observe, is he actually following through with the route that he stated, right? Is there a follow through here? Because if there's no follow through in terms of what he said he wanted to do with his life, where he said he wanted to go, and you're noticing that, okay, for example, he said, oh, I want to be a millionaire, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And every day when you're asking him what he's doing, he's like, oh, I'm just playing 2K again. Oh, I'm just playing Madden. Oh, I'm just playing Call of Duty. I'm playing Fortnite. And you're like, well, when the hell are you supposed to become a CEO playing all those damn video games? Okay? So my point being is this is so important. Don't allow yourself to not ask this question of where do you want to be, right? How do you want to get there, right? What's your plan or course of action? And also getting an understanding of what's your current state at this current moment. Meaning, where are you at right now? Are you happy with that? Are you unhappy with that? Is that working for you? Are you moving forward in the direction at the pace that you enjoy? Or are you unhappy with that? Getting a very clear understanding of where his current state is going to tell you a lot. Because if he tells you that I'm super unhappy with my current state, I'm super unhappy with my current pace, I don't know where I want to go, and I don't know how to get there, I have a lot to figure out, then you go ahead, you pack all your stuff up, right? You pull your pants back up from your ankles onto your waist, you tie your belt up, and you walk out of that room. Let's go into point number 4. When you start dating a guy, please, I beg you, do not ever, ever, ever assume that because you meet a guy on a dating app, because you meet a guy at a coffee shop, because you meet a guy at the gym or wherever you meet him, don't assume that this guy, because he approached you or you met him in the club, right? Because he came up to you and asked you for your number, don't ever assume that he doesn't have any attachment to anyone else. Every human being is gonna have different attachments to different people. You have the mom here, you have hopefully the dad here, right? You got, let's say, bro here. Here's the thing though. Sometimes you're gonna meet a guy who also has an attachment to an ex, right? Whether it be an ex-girlfriend or some sort of ex-fling, right? Because sometimes guys do this as well. They might have a girl that they were in this weird situationship with that is an ex. And sometimes, this is the scary one, a girl best friend. Let me even add in here in the web, you can even have a baby mama. This is the problem. If you don't get this answer and you don't get clarity on where this is at that current moment and honest clarity about where this is, you'll end up sleeping with him. Once you sleep with him, afterwards, you'll realize this baby mama, this ex-girlfriend, the girl best friend, or the ex-fling is such a problem that you're not even gonna be able to build a relationship here. Or it's such a problem that it just makes it hard to do anything, right? We can even add here, Diane even said here, we can add an ex-wife. See, I love it because now when we're talking about this, you guys are thinking and I can see that your wheels are spinning, right? Ex-wife. The reason I say all of this is not because, oh, he's a bad person if he has any of these things in his life. But, and we can even add in here, wow, we thinking of everything. Wow, this web is big. You can even add children here, right? All of these things you want to be thinking about and considering what is his attachment to them and how do they affect his life? Because I don't want to be investing myself into someone else that after I invest myself into them and they put themselves inside of me and penetrate me, then after I'm realizing that one or multiple of these attachments will make it close to impossible for us to have a proper relationship here. So for example, if a guy has a baby mama, because baby mama drama is like one of the worst things that can happen to you if you're dating a man. If a guy has a baby mama, of course, at the beginning of your relationship, he might mention that he has a baby mama and just say, oh yeah, she's my baby mama, it's fine, nothing's going on there, okay? And gloss over it. But you wanna make sure you dig very deep at the attachment. What is your relationship with your baby mother? How much time do you guys spend with each other, right? How often do you see her? How do you guys share the responsibility of your child, right? Is there any times where you guys are going back into your romance? What has your relationship been over the years since you guys have been broken up? What does it look like for one or both of you to be dating other people? How do you manage that, right? These are the type of questions you do to dig and figure out what is this attachment here and how does it fit into your life and is it gonna be a problem? I can assure you, if you stop putting yourself in la la land and you get really curious at extracting information, it will be obvious to you if an attachment is gonna be an issue. Whether it be a baby mama or even an ex-girlfriend that you're hearing when he's talking and you're asking him about this ex-girlfriend that he dated and it didn't work out and things like that. And you start asking him, okay, what are things like currently? with you and this ex-girlfriend, right? And he says, oh, it's not that bad, me and her. We like to stay friends because we work together and we have the same friend group. So me and her, we like to be cordial to not add too much drama to our friend group or to our work situation. You should go, excuse me, what? You work and are in the same friend group as your ex-girlfriend? Thank you. Waiter, come get me my to-go box. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. I have a thing that's going to be a thing for the rest of my life, and you're never going to see me again. Okay? The reason I say that is because you have to just be honest with yourself about how these attachments will either make it possible or impossible in this situation for you to actually build a real relationship here. Don't fool yourself into thinking to yourself, oh, this attachment seems like a problem, but it probably won't be a problem 1 year from now. It probably won't be an issue after we sleep with each other, because I guarantee you, after you invest yourself into him by sleeping with him, this will still be a problem, and it'll be even more frustrating for you because you'll feel like, damn, I'm already here now, and I've already invested my time in this guy now. So what am I going to do about this baby mama? It's not really much you can do at that point, right? Or what am I going to do? I just realized after sleeping with him that he's still in love with his ex-girlfriend. You should have been gathering that information at the beginning, not allowing him to say, oh, me and my ex-girlfriend were just friends, and me and her, we just work together, and me and her, we're just in the same friend group. You should say at that point, this is not going to work for me, right? You don't allow, especially when you have options, which I hope, and I know most of you are attractive women, except for a few, have options. Okay, I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a little joke, teeny joke, right? Have options. So I say that to say when you meet men, realize to yourself, before I invest into you, let me make sure that this is even a good situation for me to be investing in. Don't just invest in men because they're a guy who approached you. Don't just invest in men because he asked you for your number, right? Never be mesmerized because guys want you or desire you. Number 5 here, deal breakers. Now, the reason we're gonna do this analogy here, let's say you went to a theme park, right? And at this theme park, they had a rule book. And this theme park, obviously you got different rides and things like that, right? And on these different rides that you can go at this theme park, some of them are for kids, some of them are for adults, some of them are for teenagers, right? And on this particular ride that you and your friend are really excited to go, let's say me and you, we're going to the amusement park, all right? We want to go to the amusement park. We want to ride all the rides together, no diddy, all right? And in this process of us going to the amusement park and riding the rides, we see a ride that we really want to go to, we really want to get on, all right? But this ride here says height max 6 foot. We see that sign at the front that says the maximum height for this ride is 6 foot. The problem is you're with me and we're going on this ride together. I'm 6'3", okay? And if we're going to go on this ride together and we're going to enjoy our time together, we're not going to be able to go on this ride, unfortunately. So no matter how excited you were for the ride, no matter how excited I was for the ride, and the fact that we were really wanting to do this, it doesn't matter because the height limit is shorter than my height, and there's no way we're going to be able to get around that. They're not going to let us in. They're not going to make a little bit of an exception for me. Okay, it's a safety thing. The reason I say that though, and in order to connect it to your relationships, is deal breakers are so important for that exact same reason. You have to make sure you have an understanding of what that man's deal breakers are. Because if he has deal breakers that don't align with your personality or your lifestyle, you might as well walk away now. Don't bother wasting your time. So, for example, what's an example of a deal breaker that wouldn't work for you? Let's say he says, oh, yeah, one of my deal breakers is being with a girl who likes to take girls' trips. I don't like my girl to be going anywhere without me. I want a girl who stays at home, who only talks to me and only sees me. That's my vibe. And if my girl's trying to go on any girls' trips, that's a red flag to me. I don't like that. And let's say you're someone who loves to travel and you have your besties who are like your travel buddies. And he's telling you one of his deal breakers is a girl who likes to go out and travel and go places by herself with her friends. That's not going to work. And Yes, you and this guy might not necessarily be dating or be married right now. So when he's talking about his wife and what he wants for his wife and the deal breakers in a relationship, it might not necessarily apply to you because you and him are only on the first few dates. But remember, you're always living your life with intention and purposefully. So that means if you and him aren't aligned in your thinking about how you go about life or relationships, and one of his deal breakers is exactly who you are, that's not going to work. Because there is no compromise to, oh, I'm an outgoing person, that's my personality, and you want someone who is going to be in the house all the time, and one of your deal breakers is someone who is outgoing. You're literally saying that you don't want someone like me. You're essentially saying that the height max here is 6 foot. I'm 6'3". There is no bending the rules. I'm not going to shave off the top of my head. There's no way around this rule to make it not the rule. So if that's one of your deal breakers, remember, similar to the peak point that we talked about earlier, if that's one of your deal breakers, and I know myself, I know who I am, I know how I operate, and I know that this is not something I'm going to be able to compromise on because that's actually me, right? That's my personality, or it's just not the way that I live my life, then I'll walk away from this. I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you that one of your deal breakers shouldn't be one of your deal breakers. I'm going to accept fully that that deal breaker is truly your deal breaker and you really mean it when you say it. So when I know that I don't operate like that, I don't agree with that, and that doesn't work for me, I'm going to bid you adieu. And understand that we were never going to work in the first place. Whether I slept with you tonight or whether I slept with you 3 years from now, we weren't going to work if your deal breakers is exactly who I already am.